Good Friday morning, and thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet, voice you know with the news you trust studio, sponsored by Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution. I'm Dusty Sonnenberg. Well, cloudy skies right now, 64 degrees on that barn thermometer. No measurable precipitation on the farm overnight, but we still have our fingers crossed we may catch something this morning. If not, it looks like it could be a week to 10 days till we see the next chance for precipitation. A couple quick calendar reminders. Powered by Soy Biodiesel, today we're going to be at Mercer Landmark for their annual Agro Expo. That's at Mercer Landmark, Laddie's location there in Paulding County. Dale will be there during midday. Also, the Axis Seed County Fair Tour will be taking Dale to the Wayne County Fair for the Junior Fair check presentation. That'll be on Monday the 9th. Radio coverage on the 10th. And the Wayne County Fair and Certified Angus Beef invite you to visit the Wayne County Fair September 7th through the 12th. Visit WayneCountyFairOhio.com to learn more. Trade is linking into the economic and political landscape over the coming months. Listen on Wednesday as we talk with Ohio Corn and Wheat to find out how, with low prices, low demand, and high supply, we need to use trade as a way to sell corn. Let's check in with Dale Minyo as he has an update on soy biodiesel and soybean crush here in the state of Ohio.
Joining me is Maddie Corby. Maddie is the Manager of Demand and Market Development for the Ohio Soybean Council. Maddie, the fuel market wants a low carbon to get in because they want to be able to share with their potential buyers of here's what we're able to source, here's how it can help you being low carbon. How much of an impact do you think we might be able to make if every farmer told their fuel supplier, we want to be able to source Ohio biodiesel and run it in our equipment? Can we have an impact?
I think we can. I really think that the continuing market, you obviously mentioned California, but a lot of the East Coast, West Coast states are consuming a lot of our clean fuels production. But I think if a farmer here in the state of Ohio reached out to their fuel provider and was like, I'd like to use biodiesel, that could really make a big impact, especially as soybean oil is still holding a really great share of the biodiesel, like the biodiesel market in particular. It's great for farmers' equipment. It's a greener alternative. It pretty much tracks with regular diesel prices. So really a farmer reaching out to their fuel producer can make a big impact. And that's just another industry that supports in a roundabout economy. They're supporting their own farm.
Well, no doubt. And I've been running B20 for years now, and the suppliers have all gotten better at providing a grade that will make it through the winter. But in the summer, there wasn't any risk. So I've been running B50 all summer, and I'm not by any means a scientist in testing, but I can tell you if I run the same trip from point A to point B, I'm getting better mileage now at 50% than I was at 20%. But as we get closer to winter, I'm going to have to switch back to a B20 blend. But boy, if we can get it locally and use it locally, it's got to take some of that expense of transportation out of it, and it's got to be more competitive than a diesel that's being shipped in. I ran into a producer not long ago and kind of ran some quick math, and the final question can be, how can you afford to run diesel on your farm? And that's where we pretty much left the conversation. But it's fun to talk about soy biodiesel, where it's come from, what its potential, and the outside industry coming and bringing their industry to Ohio has got to make producers feel good about this upcoming equation.
There's a lot of good opportunities for our, I'll say, U.S. soybean farmers, but Ohio soybean farmers in particular. If we see even U.S. scale, Ohio scale, the amount of crush capacity that is announced, farmers are going to benefit by increased basis in their area. They're going to have more options when marketing. Ultimately, this need for vegetable oil has been a big driver in kind of helping farmers. So continuing to push the market, to grow the market, circular economy is going to benefit the farm.
This is Maddie Corby, Manager of Demand and Market Development for the Ohio Soybean Council. And Maddie, one more question. The more oil we produce locally, the byproduct of the oil production today is meal. The livestock industry's got to like that source of local meal being available as well.
Animal agriculture is our number one customer. So we love the opportunity to service two markets. That's the beauty of working in the soybean industry. We have so many opportunities there, and being able to still support and even increase our support of our livestock customers is just one of the greater benefits of this need for vegetable oil.
Isn't it amazing that not that long ago we were talking about the biggest use of it before biodiesel really came along was we were going to have the ink in printers was going to be made from soybean oil. Lots lots of other byproducts, but the biodiesel's really made a runaway with it here lately.
Yes, it has. And yeah, there's so many things that can be made with soybean oil, and biodiesel is just one of the great opportunities. And I think it adds about 13% in value to every bushel of soybean. So it's been a big market hit for farmers.
Maddie, thanks for the update. Always great to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dale. I appreciate it.
And this biodiesel update is made possible by the Ohio Soybean Council and Ohio soybean farmers. Let's take a look at that Friday morning weather forecast brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com.
A frontal boundary moving through Ohio today gives us our one shot of rain for the next 10 days. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at that Ohio forecast update. Frontal boundary coming through, moisture starting already in northwest Ohio. Through the rest of the day, it spreads across the rest of the state. We're probably not done with moisture everywhere until midday tomorrow, as moisture holds on a little longer in eastern parts of the state. But in western Ohio, we're done probably right away this evening into early tomorrow morning. You get the idea. Moisture's coming through, 1/4 to 1 1/4 inches of rain. Most of us are probably going to be in that half-inch area. I'm looking at the higher ends of the rain range, only where rain lasts a little longer. I'm looking at you, eastern Ohio, where the front seems to slow a little bit, or where we can see a couple of stronger thunderstorms, and those can pop up at any time this afternoon into early evening. Moving through the rest of the weekend, we cool down significantly behind this front. Humidity values drop, so we're going to be quite crisp, particularly later tomorrow afternoon, and then through Sunday. Heavy dews Sunday morning. Monday, we're still cool, but seeing a warm air come around the backside of the high as it dissipates and moves away. And then the rest of next week, we are sunny and we are warm. Humidity values not too shabby. We see a lot of dry down. With this kind of setup and above normal temperatures, we're going to suck a lot of moisture out of the crops. We'll have to make this moisture we're seeing today last as long as we can, but that'll be a challenge. I don't think our next significant round of moisture comes until well into the week of the 16th. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more after this.
Get ready for the 62nd Annual Farm Science Review, September 17th, 18th, and 19th. It's more than a farm show. Explore over 600 exhibitors across 2.6 million square feet, providing equipment, services, and education for farms of all types and sizes. Tickets can be purchased at participating OSU Extension offices and agribusinesses, as well as online. Visit fsr.osu.edu to buy your Farm Science Review tickets now and plan your show visit. We look forward to seeing you at the 62nd Farm Science Review, September 17th, 18th, and 19th.
Hi, everyone. This is Dale Minio from the Ohio AgNet. For a 1/4 of a century, I powered my truck with biodiesel, traveling the state promoting agriculture. Biodiesel is a reliable, high-performance fuel that works in any diesel engine without modification. The best part is that with every mile driven, I'm fueling the economy, doing good for the environment, and supporting soybean farmers. Learn how using biodiesel can add value to every bushel of soybeans grown at soyohio.org.
Taking a look at your agricultural headlines, a group of farmers and food companies led by Triumph Foods, LLC, has asked a federal appeals court to review a Massachusetts federal court's ruling that upheld the state's animal welfare law created through the ballot initiative Question 3. A federal court ruled in July that the Federal Meat Inspection Act does not preempt the Massachusetts Prevention of Farm Animal Cruelty Act. The state's law bans the sale of pork meat that doesn't meet sow housing requirements, no matter where it is produced. In February, the U.S. District Court for the District of Massachusetts ruled that an exemption from the animal welfare law for federally licensed meat processing plants operating in the state was unconstitutional. Now, food companies joining Triumph Foods in an appeal filed with the U.S. Court of Appeals for the First Circuit in Boston. They include Kristen Farms Midwest, LLC, the Hanner Company of Wisconsin, New Fashion Pork, LLP, Eichenberg Farms, also Allied Producers Cooperative. 13 states also joined that original lawsuit, including Iowa, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Utah, and Wyoming. Now, the appeal filed back on August 13th of this year asked the court to review the judgment and all orders in the action rendered by the U.S. District Court for the District of Massachusetts, including the company's motion for the preliminary injunction rejected by the court. The food companies had motioned the court to sever the sale ban from the law. Doing so would have made the law applicable only to farm owners in the state. Now, the companies argued the sales ban should be severed because it includes pork sold by federal facilities. Pork producers represented in the case reside in Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, Illinois, South Dakota, Wisconsin, Oklahoma, North Carolina, Missouri, Wyoming, and Indiana. The U.S. District Judge William G. Young said in the July ruling that there was no conflict between the federal and state law. In addition, he said Triumph Foods already has implemented a system that allows it to separate compliant and non-compliant pork to be sold in Massachusetts. The company processed over 11 million pounds of pork meat sold in the state back in 2022. Now, Triumph provided estimates to the court that the company processes about 58,000 pigs per month in compliance with the act, which Triumph estimates to be about 700,000 compliant pigs or 70 million pounds per year available through Triumph. In May of 23, the Supreme Court upheld California's animal welfare law created as a result of Proposition 12, which was modeled after that Massachusetts law. Stay tuned. We'll be back to take a look at your markets after this.
Your health and safety are of the highest importance to your friends at the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation. That's why creating safe work environments in agriculture has never been easier. BWC's free safety consulting services provide training and education for everyone in your work family. It's always a good time to make safety a priority. Visit bwc.ohio.gov and click on Safety Services or call 1-800-644-6292. The Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation has the safety resources you need.
Get the equipment and trucks you need at Ritchie Brothers' next Great Lakes Regional event on September 18th, 19th, and 20th. This absolute unreserved auction will feature online bidding. Items are located in Columbus, Chicago, and Detroit. Choose from over 6,600 items, including a wide selection of construction equipment, truck tractors, and more. Don't miss Ritchie Brothers' Great Lakes Regional event on September 18th, 19th, and 20th. For more details, visit rbauction.com. Again, that's rbauction.com.
Who wants them?
It's time now for the Louis Dreyfus Grain Analysis, brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff.
Grain markets finishing mixed to mostly lower yesterday. Taking a look at the numbers, corn anywhere from 1/2 to 2 lower. Soybeans were low early but bounced off of the lows and actually finished out the day a couple of pennies higher. Moving into the bean meal, it was down. Bean oil turned it around and moved higher. Wheat markets were lower for the most part, pretty much all the way across the board. Chicago, Kansas City, and Minneapolis wheat. Let's take a look at some of the headlines that were in the marketplace yesterday, starting with a little bit of demand. That was the main thing that was out there through the day yesterday. Got word that there were some purchases on the part of China. 181,000 metric tons, or rather 126,000 metric tons of beans, 189,700 metric tons sold to unknown. So the 126 were to China, 189.7 to unknown. Also, this helps to confirm at least a little bit of the rumor we heard earlier on in the week that 5 to 8 cargoes of U.S. beans sold back on Tuesday. We're being told that China continues to seek and book U.S. beans on a daily basis. Corn and soybean crop maturity is being pushed by dry, warm, and sunny weather. Corn harvest is going to start in earnest by the end of next week across the U.S. Farmers hoped that the 2024 corn crop would dry down quickly. That is what is occurring. The Brazilian Senate approved a bill yesterday that would create an expanding national fuel program for green fuels into early 2030. The Fuels of the Future bill was overwhelmingly approved by the Brazilian Senate, with the amount of soy oil to be blended into Brazil's biodiesel supply to rise 1% each year until it reaches 20% by 2030. That's a massive increase in Brazil's soy oil domestic use in the years ahead. Currently, Brazil is sitting at 14% of its diesel supply with soy oil, and the country may have to import Argentine soy oil to meet this domestic mandate as it moves forward. So, interesting news in the marketplace there yesterday. Hey, the bean market did bounce a little bit. I'm a happy camper. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Let's take a look now at how those markets closed, brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. December corn closed down 2 cents a bushel at $4.11 3/4, and March corn was down 1 3/4 cents at $4.29 1/4. November soybeans closed up 2 cents at 10.24 while January soybeans were up 2 1/4 cents at $10.42 1/2, and December Kansas City wheat closed down 4 1/4 cents at 5.89 3/4, while December Chicago wheat was down 6 cents at 5.75 3/4, and December Minneapolis wheat was up 1/4 penny, $6.24 3/4. Now in the overnight trade, we find December corn down 3/4 penny at $4.10. November new crop soybeans down 2 cents at $10.21 1/2, and wheat for July of 25 down 3 cents at $6.09 1/4. October live cattle closed the day down $1.97 at $177.25, and October lean hogs were down 87.5 cents at $80.70. October Class 3 milk closed down 4 cents at $22.82. You're listening to the Ohio AgNet.